Hello everyone, this is Fanatic and welcome guys to another Bloodborne cut/unused content video. It has been quite a while now, but I was taking my time working out with the file formats of Bloodborne and the DLC files, and I was able to load the animation files properly and be able to show all of the animations in the game basically. But today I am going to be focusing on the unused animations of both in-game enemies and unused enemies, and there are a lot of very cool and interesting looking stuff and some really hilarious stuff there. But before I begin this video, I have to give a shout out to Lance McDonald for helping me make this procedure much shorter, because it was really long, but with his programming skills he was able to create a program based on the data I compiled and researched to automate some of the things, so make sure you go and support his channel as he uploads a lot of cool stuff about hacking Bloodborne. I also want to give a shout out to Nix, who helped me and Zully the Witch greatly with the Chalice Dungeon research, as he made the procedure of finding cut enemies and bosses much faster. You might recognize him as the guy who created the Asmat. His Twitter link will be in the description. So with that out of the way, let us begin. So the first thing we are gonna start with is the Odin Chapel Dweller. Now, this guy is the peaceful NPC we find in the Cathedral Ward, and he doesn't have many animations in-game really. But from what you are going to see, that guy was actually supposed to be an enemy, and this makes complete sense as his codename is Demon's Fanatic. Now, I'm showing his most notable animations right here in the model viewer environment I set up using Marmoset Toolbag, and the most notable thing you can see is that he is wielding a weapon and he uses it. I'll let you see the animations and then talk about the significance and findings in-game about them. Now, a very interesting thing is that he can be found in some of the unused Chalice dungeons, and for some reason he only appears in specific versions of the game, which is quite peculiar. Also, as you saw from his animations, he had this throwing animation from the urn hanging from his neck, which he throws something that burns you and does damage to you. And the other animation is him raising the staff, which actually gives a huge attack buff to the nearby enemies. There were other enemies that did this on the other unused dungeons, so I wonder if that is just for testing or something that was supposed to be like this. Also, the footage you are seeing in the background in Central Yharnam was captured by Lance through modding the files. Now, it is very interesting to think about where this guy could have been as a mob, and I think Hemwick Charnel Lane is the perfect place for such an enemy to be located, and what also backs this up is the hunting dogs enemies found in Hemwick Charnel Lane. They are named in the code Beast of Fanatic, and as I told you, the name of the guy is Demon's Fanatic. And their ID is immediately after his ID, so it links up perfectly. Very interesting, but we have still lots more to cover here. The next thing we have is Master Willem, and this is one of the most interesting ones here, as the only thing Master Willem does is point at the Moonside Lake, but as you can see, he actually has attack animations. There is also this animation which might indicate that he is firing a laser of sorts from his staff, but he also stabs himself, so it isn't very clear to be honest. But after researching the parameter files, it turns out that he was actually supposed to cast magic from his staff, and it makes complete sense if you imagine it. And then we have this animation. Like, he just says goodbye and then he lands on top of your face. You can see it in-game right here. It looks super hilarious. Now, on this how could have been in the game, I suspect that Willem had much a bigger gameplay role, because there's also the cut dialogues for him, which might indicate that he had some sort of covenant.
There you are. Finally. You are most welcome, my precious sacrifice. Now, over here. Quick. Go on. Give me your eyes. Yes. A pleasure to have you.
So yeah, that is it for Master Willem. Next we have is one of the prototypes for Master Logarius, which is King Ghost _ low class. He has lots of different animations and you can see them on the screen. For some reason, he has animations for climbing ladders and opening doors, which is very weird really, and it might indicate that this was just a mob, or maybe like the king's ghost, maybe it was literally a ghost and you have to follow this ghost and he might like lead the way for you in Cairnhurst. It's very interesting to think about, like, because he is called King Ghost. And also one more thing is that like he has ghost texture, you can say, which makes him transparent. So it's really interesting to theorize on what his significance is. There is also the other variation, which is King in blue, and these are the animations for him. There is this one animation which is interesting, which looks like as if he buffs his sword or something, which looks very cool. So the next thing we have is Lady Maria, and it is kind of a small one, but the sitting animation that we saw in the trailer is still in the game, as you can see right here. This is of course a shot I made by mixing the game and the render to show you guys how it would have looked like. This lines up perfectly with the unused dialogue of Maria that I found and confirms that she was supposed to be an interactable NPC before fighting her as a boss, similar to Lady Frida from Dark Souls 3. And last but not least, we have the Shrine Knights, as they are called in the game. They have many different animations with their spear and sword and shield, and you can see the most prominent ones on the screen. Now, as you know, I ripped the files of the DLC from my PlayStation 4 and began searching for the unused content there, and I already uploaded the unused Lady Maria dialogues, but sadly that's as far as the interesting unused DLC content go with the addition of this. Now, there aren't any animations or codenames for this character, but its ID comes right after the Orphan of Cause, and it looks exactly the same, except that in here it is more of a child-looking monster rather than the grown-up we have got. Now, I am not surprised that they removed it, because From Software has always removed things that might lead to killing children, just like Murgo in Bloodborne and Ocelot in Dark Souls 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure you go and watch my other cut content videos for Bloodborne, and I'm going to be working on another very cool and sort of fun unused content video very soon, so make sure you subscribe for that. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.